In this quick video, we're going to talk with Justin Vititoe from the Eco Survival Group, and you probably saw him on the hit show Alone about the group and about some of his background. That's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name is Brian. Thanks for joining me. I'm here with Justin Vititoe. You may recognize him. He was on the season 2, right?
Season 2, yeah.
Of the hit show Alone. He's also a military veteran, Army veteran, a sniper veteran. He's got just a wide range of skills. He does some individual classes, but he's also paired up with some folks to form the Eco Survival Group, right? And first of all, thanks for taking time.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about how the Eco Survival Group came to be and kind of what your involvement is with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm one of the founders, one of the 4 board members of Eco Survival Group, and what we're really striving to accomplish is a coalition of survival and primitive skills bushcraft instructors that allows a student coming in to have the ability to go to instructors that are vetted. So when we put our name on an instructor, that means that we've gone through a very in-depth process to make sure that we're providing the best possible training to these students coming in. And I mean, you know as well as I do that, you know, there's a lot of people out there doing a lot of different things, and we saw a need to have, you know, to bring instructors together for one, and not only that was to bring instructors together that were teaching really good stuff. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out of being a student, because you can actually say, okay, this person is affiliated with Eco Survival Group. We know that they're going to be top notch, and we know we're going to be wasting our money in that sense.
Because what I've seen, I've been here just the first event, right? Basically.
Yes. This is our inaugural event.
Okay. So. And we've covered everything from you guys talked yesterday morning about some firearms related stuff.
Yeah.
To we just finished a flint knapping class. So we're going from ultra modern to ultra primitive, and all in between. I think that if I get it right, the eventual idea is that that'll give students kind of why if somebody's interested in ultra primitive, they can come focus on that. If they're interested in self-defense or whatever, they can come focus on that. And all those things to me fall under the general umbrella of survival.
Absolutely, and you know, and I said it yesterday, and I've probably said it a million times, you know, in the last few years. But you know, survival is simply Webster's definition: staying alive.
Yeah.
You know, it's not dying. So when you start to expand the reach of what you think about as a survival situation, well, it actually encompasses a lot more than just being in the woods with just a knife, you know, and the likelihood, like as I was saying yesterday, the likelihood of, you know, something bad happening because you're in the wrong part of town, that's actually probably higher for most people than, say, if you're stranded out in the middle of the woods with only your knife. So that's one of the other big things about this group is that we take everything from, as you said, you know, super primitive skills, you know, the first weapons that were created. We have people that are everywhere from that to modern and future type stuff, and we're able to kind of combine all that to offer the student, you know, way more than they're going to get with just one instructor. And we see a lot of crossover as well. So there's a lot of people that are not only interested in, you know, learning how to flint knap or learning how to make a bow drill fire or something like that. They're also they're people that carry a gun, you know, all the time. So they need training in how to use that as well. So the nice thing about this is we can give those students to each other within that group and be able to offer that to students and have a, you know, a absolute world-class instructor on that particular skill set. So if a student comes to me and they want to learn, you know, they want to learn my brand of doing stuff, and then they also are wanting to get into the primitive skill stuff, I got people for that. You know, I can send that student to them, and it makes for a much more well-rounded group and a much more well-rounded student.
Yeah, I like the concept personally of the, I guess, variety and the fact that you are vetting people, and so you're kind of like the clearinghouse, basically, of saying, because there's some pretty good, well-respected schools out there for one discipline
Absolutely.
or another discipline, but there's really not a central focal point of like, okay, if you're looking for this, we check this person out and they're this, or if you or like you said, just give you the white. Maybe you come in and do a firearms class one day and you're making arrowheads the next.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's available to my knowledge in very many other.
Not
other
that I
venues.
know of at all.
Yeah.
And that's, not to beat a dead horse about the group, but the name eco in itself is environment, climate, and opposition. And if you really think about it, those are the three things that are going to affect what your priorities are. We all the time think about priorities of survival, be it, making fire first or shelter or getting water, depending on, but those things all depend on what your environment is, what the climate is, whether it's snowing outside or whether you're in the middle of the desert and it's 150 in the shade, and what your opposition is. And that opposition could be bad people, it could be predator animals, it could be just your own body fighting against you. But we kind of narrowed that down to, well, these things actually equal what I'm going to base my priorities of work on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. And one thing I noticed this weekend, I know there are people here. I know Alan Kay's here. He's got his kids, and so it's a pretty non-confrontational environment. I mean, you go to some classes and it seems to me sometimes the instructor is so busy making sure you're impressed with his credentials and his abilities, instead of just trying to make sure you learn what you need to learn. It just seems like there's just real people here with real world experience, and that's something that you can't necessarily count on when you're just looking on the internet trying to find somebody.
Absolutely. And we do our best to, when we put anything out to a student, it's not because we read it in a book, it's not because we saw it on a YouTube channel.
No, I know.
No, but it's because we've used it. We've physically done that, and we physically used it, and we have, again, a broad spectrum of instructors to where, if I conceptually may know something about primitive skills, I'm not going to teach that. I'm going to send you to somebody that does that, intricately, and they know every aspect of that. And in the same way with firearms, all four of us, carry firearms all the time. But if they run into a student that's interested in that stuff, well, you're to send them to me. So it's I think that's what's missing a lot of times in a lot of different communities, not only the survival community, but I'm in a bunch of different communities, the tactical community, long range shooting, all this other stuff. And I think that's what's missing in a lot of these communities is you can't teach everything. Right. You know what I mean? I don't care who you are, how awesome you are. At the end of the day, you're going to have things that you enjoy. You're going to have things that you're good at. You're going to have things that you kind of conceptually know, but you probably shouldn't be teaching. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's everything for me.
But you might go out in your yard or a campsite or whatever and do that stuff on the weekend. But when it comes to actually teaching it, for me, I want to learn from the best in the business. You know what I mean? I want to learn a skill from somebody that's very intimately familiar with that skill, right? Because they've used it in real life, or they've spent just hours and hours and days and weeks, practicing that skill. And I was over there with Justin Cook, and just doing my first flint napping ever.
Yeah, he's an artist too, man.
He is. He's amazing. And just within a few minutes, he was able to at least get me to where I had a pointy object. You know what I mean? Like, I'm never gonna, just the way I am, I'm never going to just sit there for days and flint nap that stuff out. But it's cool to learn those skills.
Yeah.
It's cool to, and all of us are very practically minded.
Right.
So, for instance, Justin teaching flint napping, he's also very adamant about, if you're in a survival situation, what you're probably going to do is just flake off a big piece where you have a sharp edge, and then use that sharp edge to do what you need to do. Right. You don't necessarily have to get into the artistic side of making these beautiful museum quality things. Right. And we're all very practically minded like that. In the same way with firearm stuff for me, or whatever it is. you don't necessarily. I want you to understand the concepts behind what we're trying to accomplish. You know, like the class yesterday, the firearms class yesterday. I want people to understand how to point a weapon and shoot it effectively, no matter what that weapon is. And I think that plays to a bigger thing, because a lot of people wind up getting preoccupied with little nuances of things, and that becomes their entirety of their world, where in realistic terms you might not need to know that, or you might not need to practice that skill. If you want to practice it because you like it, great.
But again, from a survival, the main goal is to not die.
Necessity, yeah, necessity. You want to make sure that you don't die.
So they can ecosurvival.com, right?
Yep.
Ecosurvival, is it just ecosurvivalgroup.com?
Ecosurvivalgroup.
There'll be a link at the bottom.
There'll be a link at the bottom.
There'll be a link at the bottom for sure, man.
We're working on our website, so.
And there'll be a Facebook group. And you also, if somebody, you also offer private firearms instruction? So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm also I have my own school, so I'm the director of training at Rock Castle Shooting Center in Park City, Kentucky. And we offer everything from survival to firearms instruction to kind of across the gamut. And then we also host eco. We will be hosting eco events up there as well.
Yeah, cool.
So if you're in the Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee area, come out and see us. And
how would they find out more about that?
So you can go to rockcastleshootingcenter.com, or we also have a Facebook page, Rock Castle Shooting Center, and then an additional Facebook page just and Instagram for the training. So it's just Rock Castle Training.
Okay.
And like I said, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter. we got all the things.
Yeah, basically, just based on what I learned yesterday from just a very short kind of almost an introductional class, I would say there's a lot of value there, because look, I've been carrying a firearm for a long time. I'm not any kind of a pro operator or anything else, but I learned a lot of little tips, things I never even bothered to think about. Which is what happens.
And that's the point,
which is what happens when you get with somebody who's actually carried a firearm as a professional.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of, and I think somebody asked me yesterday what I look for in an instructor, and that's one of the big things, is that I think what a lot of people don't understand is what you're actually paying for is not to hear my stories. It's not for anything like. It's for me to take the last 20 or so years of me doing this stuff and take out all of the wrong stuff I've done, or incorrect stuff I've done, and to shortcut that to what I know to be true now. And it's the same with the primitive skills or survival or whatever it is, but that's what you pay your money for. You pay for that shortcut. Or if you want to spend the next 20 years of your life, trial and error it through, you're perfectly welcome to do that. But I think that's one of the other common things with all of us, is that we have that. We try to form that deeper understanding of a subject.
Cool. Well, Justin, thanks so much for taking time to talk to us, and for coming all the way down here from Kentucky.
Absolutely, I'm glad you guys got to come down.
Great weekend. As always, thank you for watching Survival on Purpose. Put out a brand new video every Friday and Saturday, and often random videos. You can check out a new one right over here. If you're not subscribed, please click down in the corner and do that. I really appreciate it. Once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.